Hi, and welcome to Mastering Google Cloud Platform. Today I'm supposed to post a Google Kubernetes Engine a session, but that session is taking a little longer because it's pretty vast, and I would like to cover almost all the concepts that are important for understanding the Kubernetes engine, and it might take a day or two to complete that session. So I thought that let me put the architect certification exam practice test questions and make sure that you have covered a lot of concepts up till now, and then you can easily answer all these questions. The way I have designed again this session is it has 12 questions. Each question we will dissect and we will show how to understand the question before we reach out to the right answer. I will post the links that are very helpful for your certification exam preparation, and let's do the questions. In this question, your company is moving 75 terabytes of data into Google Cloud. You want to use cloud storage and follow Google recommended practices. What should you do? You have four options. Move your data onto transfer appliance. Use a transfer appliance rehydrator to decrypt the data into cloud storage. Option B, move your data onto transfer appliance. Use cloud data prep to decrypt the data onto cloud storage. Install GSUtil on each server that contains data. Use resumable transfers to upload the data into cloud storage. And option D, install GSUtil on each server containing data. Use streaming transfers to upload the data into cloud storage. Let's look into the question again. When we look into the question, we know that they are moving 75 terabytes of data into cloud. So as the best practice, Google recommends when you have more than 60 terabytes of data to transfer, you should use transfer appliance and use the rehydrator to decrypt the data. So I would go with the option A, move your data onto the transfer appliance and use the appliance rehydrator to decrypt the data into the cloud storage. In this question, which data storage service provides data warehouse services for storing data but also offers an interactive SQL interface for querying the data? So again, we will look into the question deeply, find out the keywords, look into the choices. So BigQuery, Cloud Dataproc, Cloud SQL, Cloud Bigtable. So let's look into the question again. So in this question, data warehouse services and interactive SQL interface are key words which I think can help finding out the right answer. You know, BigQuery is always used for analytical purposes, data warehouses purposes, looks to be a right choice, but you can always look into other options. Dataproc is not used for warehouses purposes. Cloud SQL is not used for warehouses purposes. And Bigtable, you cannot have interactive SQL interface on Bigtable. So option A, BigQuery, seems to be the right choice. In this question, you are deploying an application on App Engine that needs to integrate with an on-premises database. For security purposes, your on-premises database must not be accessible through the public internet. What should you do? Again, we will go into the question much deeper. We have four choices. Now, we will go into the four choices, but before we go and read the entire sentence of each choice, let's break every choice and see what we can eliminate quickly. So here we are saying deploy your application on App Engine standard environment using firewall. Okay, valid choice. We haven't gone through the detail, but it looks like valid. Deploy your application on App Engine standard using Cloud VPN. Standard doesn't work with VPN, or VPN doesn't work with standard. So we eliminate this choice immediately. Deploy your application on App Engine Flexible using App Engine Firewall. Okay. And deploy your App Engine Flexible using Cloud VPN to limit access. So we have already eliminated option B. Let's go in detail with the question and then find out the right option. Going back to the question, I have highlighted some of the points in the question that will help me finding out the right choice. Integrate with an on-premise database and must not be accessible through the public internet. So let's go and refresh our concepts and find out the right choice. If you have an existing on-premise database that you want to connect to your App Engine, you can either do by internal networking and firewall or using the Cloud VPN. Now, if you're using the internal network and firewall, you have to use public IP address. So setting up the VPN allows you to connect your App Engine to the on-premise database without directly exposing the database server to a public internet. You can use the VPN connection to establish the connection between the App Engine and the database using the database server's internal IP address. And also Google Cloud App Engine standard can't use VPN directly. We need to use App Engine Flexible for the VPN. So option D, deploy your application on App Engine Flexible environment and use Cloud VPN to limit access to the on-premise database is the right choice. In this question, company want to host static website onto cloud. What is the best possible solution to host a static web application with no management overhead? It's a simple question. It's a very conceptual understanding that what is the best solution to host a static web application with no management overhead. And we have 4 choices: Google Container Engine, Google Compute Engine, Google Cloud Storage, and Google App Engine. So option C, Google Cloud Storage, is the best possible solution that can host static web application with no management overhead. In this question, you have an application that will run on Compute Engine. You need to design an architecture that takes into account a disaster recovery plan that requires your application to fail over to another region in case of a regional outage. What should you do? You have 4 choices. Let me also explain you how to read these choices, which will help you in reading faster because they are pretty big choices. The first choice you start with, deploy the application on 2 Compute Engine instances in the same project. Now, I'm not going to read the whole sentence. I'll go to the next one. It says deploy the application on a Compute Engine instance. Use the instance to serve traffic and use HTTP load balancing. Okay. Option C, deploy the application on 2 Compute Engine instance groups. And option D, deploy the application on 2 Compute Engine instance groups. So after partially reading through 4 choices, I know that first 2 choices are using Compute Engine instances, and option C and option D are using instance groups. Because this question needs a disaster recovery plan, you definitely need instance groups. So option C and option D, I would like to go in further detail, and I will eliminate option A and option B. Well, as I already mentioned, it's a disaster recovery plan question. Failover to another region, we need Compute Engine instance groups. Option C and option D, we go further down. So deploy the application on 2 Compute Engine instance groups, each in the same project. And option D says each in a different project and a different region. But option C says it should be in the same project but in a different region. I think that's pretty much the difference between the two. So definitely I would like to go with option C. We will create 2 instance groups in a in the same project but different region and use those two groups for the failover and recovery plans. So option C is the right choice. Again, I am explaining it in much more detail. The primary application runs on compute engine instance groups that serve as backend service for an HTTPS load balancer. The HTTP load balancer directs incoming traffic to the instances according to the load balancer configuration. If the application server or the servers go down, your recovery sequence is to configure Cloud DNS to point to your static website. The following diagram shows the architecture in its recovery mode. So here you see the traffic is coming to Cloud DNS. Then it goes to an HTTPS load balancer, which will direct your traffic to any of these instance groups. So option C, deploy the application on two compute engine instance groups, each in the same project, but different region. Use the first instance to serve traffic and use the HTTPS load balancing service to fail over to the standby instance group in case of the disaster. So option C is the right choice. In this question, your company has multiple on-premises systems that serves as sources for reporting. The data has not been maintained well and has become degraded over time. You want to use Google recommended practices to detect anomalies in your company data. What should you do? You have four choices. In the two choices, it is uploading the file in storage and using either data lab or data prep to explore and clean. And other two choices, it is connecting directly to your on-premise system either by data lab and data prep and exploring and cleaning your data using data lab and data prep. So before we go further into details, we know that data lab is not used for cleaning the data. It's more for visualization and analytical purposes. Your data prep is used for cleaning the data. So I would go further and look into B and option D, where we can use data prep for it. So let's go further down. In this question, the data has been degraded over time, and you need some tool to detect the anomalies and clean the data. And we already eliminated two choices, option A and option C. Using data lab is not possible. So option B and option D are the two choices, and we know that data prep is the right tool or right resource to do it. You can upload your files onto the cloud storage and use cloud data prep to explore and clean your data. So option B is the right choice. Cloud Data Prep by Trifacta is an intelligent data service for visually exploring, cleaning, and preparing structured and unstructured data for analysis purposes. So if you see this architecture, data is uploaded into a cloud storage. Then from there, it'll go in Cloud Data Prep to cleaning the data, and then from data flow to BigQuery or cloud storage. So option B, upload your files into cloud storage and use Cloud Data Prep to explore and clean your data is the right choice. Moving to the next question, you want to create a private connection between your instance on compute engine and your on-premise data center. You require a connection of at least 20 Gbps. You want to follow Google recommended practices. How should you set up the connection? Option A, create a VPC and connect it to your on-premise data center using dedicated interconnect. Option B, create a VPC and connect to your on-premise data center using single cloud VPN. Option C, create the Cloud Content Delivery Network, which is CDN, and connect it onto your on-premise data center using dedicated interconnect. And option D, create a CDN and connect onto your on-premise data center using single cloud VPN. Cloud CDN definitely will not be used in this case. So option C and option D outrightly I will not use and eliminate those. Option A and option B could be the right choices, and let's further go and look into the question and see which option we should be picking up. Again, going back to the question, I see that they are looking for at least 20 Gbps connection. which is only possible in case of dedicated interconnect, because we know that Cloud VPN supports 1.5 to 3 Gbps per tunnel. So that may not be the right choice. So option A, create VPC and connect it to your on-premise data center using dedicated interconnect, is the right answer. Company wants to reduce storage costs for its regulatory and compliance data, which may or may not be accessed in its lifetime, but when it is required to access, it should be available quickly and easily. Which is the best possible solution? Okay, again, this is about storage, about different classes of storage. So we have 4 choices: cloud storage with regional storage class, cloud storage with cold line storage class, and cloud storage with nearline storage class, and cloud persistent disk. So again, find out the key phrases from the question and pick up the right answer. So I picked up may or may not be accessed in its lifetime. So which means they want to just keep the data someplace in the storage and forget about it. And when they need it, it can be accessed very fast. So what do you think would be the right choice? Let's look into the answer. So option B, cloud storage with cold line storage class, is the right answer. In this question, you need to set up Microsoft SQL Server on GCP. Management requires that there is no downtime in case of a data center outage in any of the zones within the GCP region. What should you do? So in this case, we have 4 options. Configure a Cloud SQL instance with high availability enabled. Configure a Cloud Spanner instance with the regional instance configuration. Set up SQL Server on Compute Engine using always on availability groups using Windows failover clustering, and place nodes in different subnets. And you have option D, set up SQL Server always on availability groups using Windows failover clustering, place nodes in different zones. So let's look into the question again and find out the right answer. So here, no downtime in case of a data center outage in any of the zones within the GCP region is the key phrase or a keyword. So option A, option D, Cloud SQL instance and Cloud Spanner instance may not be the right choices. You know how to configure the SQL Server always on availability groups on the compute engine. So option C and option D could be the right choices. Let's pick up the one which is the right choice. Option C, set up a SQL Server on compute engine. Use always on availability groups using Windows failover clustering and place nodes in different subnet. That is the right choice. And I will also give a link in the comment section, and that link will tell you exactly where you should go and look into these details. It's in Compute Engine section in the Google Cloud documentation, and you can look into it in more detail there. The database administration team has asked you to help them improve the performance of their new database server running on Google Compute Engine. The database is for importing and normalizing their performance statistics and is built with MySQL running in Debian Linux. They have an N1 standard 8 virtual machine with 80 GB of SSD persistent disk. What should they change to get better performance from their system? Therefore, there are 5 choices this time. They can increase the virtual machine memory to 64 GB, create a new virtual machine running PostgreSQL, dynamically resize the SSD persistent disk to 500 GB, migrate the performance metrics warehouse to BigQuery, modify all of their batch jobs to use bulk inserts into the database. Okay, let's go back to the question and understand these choices to find out which is the best one. In my opinion, all they need is a better performance. And the choices that you have, option B, to create a new virtual machine using PostgreSQL, migrate to BigQuery, and modify the jobs, all three of them can be easily eliminated. So you're left with option A and option C. Either they can increase the virtual machine's memory or to resize SSD persistent disk. I would go with resizing the persistent disk to 500 GB because we know that increasing the size of the disk gives better performance. So I'll go with option C and increase the size to 500 GB. In this question, your company has successfully migrated to cloud and wants to analyze their data stream to optimize operations. They do not have any existing code for this analysis, so they are exploring all their options. These options include a mix of batch and stream processing, as they are running some hourly jobs, and live processing some data as it comes in. Which technology should they use for this? Dataproc, Dataflow, Container Engine with Bigtable, Compute Engine with BigQuery. Okay, let's go back to the question and go find out the key phrases and keywords for the right choice. So if you go back to the question, there is a little trick. You might think that, oh, they want to do the analysis on their data stream or data sets, so we should go with the BigQuery. Not a bad idea, but they're not looking for that. They're looking for the option that they need to do the batch and stream processing for their analysis purposes. So I would rather go with the key phrase mix of batch and stream processing, and I would like to go with option B, Google Cloud Dataflow, for this purpose. So option B is the right choice. So here's the last question. You want to establish a compute engine application in a single VPC across two regions. The application must communicate over VPN to an on-premise network. How should you deploy the VPN? Use VPN network peering between the VPC and the on-premise network. Expose the VPC to the on-premise network using IAM and VPC sharing. Create a global cloud VPN gateway with the VPN tunnels from each region to an on-premise peer gateway, or deploy cloud VPN gateway in each region. Ensure that each region has at least one VPN tunnel to the on-premise peer gateway. Let's go back to the question once again and read the choices, eliminate the choices, find out the right choice between the choices that you finally pick. So let's understand the question once again and go with the right answer. Well, I have given the answer, so you might already know that D is the right answer. But let's look into the question once again. The key phrase that I will look into is single VPC across two regions. And that's the reason I will eliminate option A, because VPC network peering is between two VPCs. And here it is single VPC. So option A is not there. Option B, expose VPC to on-premise network using IAM and VPC sharing. That's again not the right option. Option C and option D. Option C, I would not go because they are not VPN gateway are not the global objects. They are regional. So there is no such thing called global cloud VPN gateway. I would not go with option C. So option D, deploy cloud VPN gateway in each region. Ensure that each region has at least one VPN tunnel to the on-premise peer gateway. That is the right choice. So that ends our session on the 12 exam type questions. They are important. I would again post the links so that you have better understanding to reach out to those links and find out more details on these questions and the answers. Please don't forget to share, subscribe, like, and give your suggestions. I'm still working on Kubernetes engine session. Hopefully that will be done in few days. And happy learning GCP and good luck.